Is
and
this
I'll let
audio
everybody
coming
in.
out?
Did you want to let someone else?
Mr. Chair, can you hear me better now?
Yes, you.
Okay, and switch microphones. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, we don't have that little Furby thing going on.
Noel's here.
Mhm. Okay, just made Noel co-host, and here we are,
Okay.
7:02. It being the evening of Wednesday, November 9th. Pursuant to Governor Baker's signing of Senate Bill 2475, an act related to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency and as extended by the state legislature in July of 2022. Bellingham Conservation Commission will meet utilizing the Zoom online option. Instructions and invitations are available at the town website, www.bellinghamma.org. In the event of technical difficulties, remote access is not guaranteed, and the commission cannot be held responsible. Moving forward, in this meeting, the chair instructs the meeting administrator to withhold access to speak at the meeting until or unless such persons requesting to speak are visible on screen, and respectfully request such access. Okay. So we will open the first continuation of tonight's meeting. I'm gonna ask Noel to kind of keep an eye out for people who might be in the waiting room, because I know at our last meeting you weren't available, and we had a couple of members of the local town government who I didn't notice were in the waiting room until about 10 minutes after they had appeared. So, all right. Bellingham Conservation Commission will hold continuations of public hearings in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bellingham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, and the notice of intent for the proposal to construct a 700,000 square foot warehouse facility with associated site appurtenances on 150-acre property located off of Hartford Avenue, Bellingham, and identified as assessors map parcels 30-73-01, 24-12, and 31-03. The project proposes temporary and permanent impacts to resource areas jurisdictional to the Wetlands Protection Act of 661 square feet of boarding vegetated wetland, 95 square feet of bank, 561 square feet of land under water bodies, and a 100-foot buffer zone with proposed mitigation, and is located within the riverfront area to Spring Brook. Project also proposes impacts to resource areas jurisdiction for the Bellingham Wetlands Protection Bylaw regulations, including 28 linear feet of bank, 15,274 square feet of land subject to flooding, bordering or isolated, 651,879 square feet of buffer zone, 39,357 square feet of isolated vegetated wetland, 82 square feet of land under water bodies, and 2,484 square feet of vernal pools with proposed mitigation. Andrea Kendall, LEC Environmental, Mr. Mass has submitted the filing on behalf of Jeff Curley, Bellingham Associates, Boylston Street, Massachusetts. Boylston Street, Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. The continuations will be held on the evening of Wednesday, November 9th at 7 o'clock. And it seems like everybody's here. All right, what I would like to do is run through for the record the results of our site inspection and provide some informational requests to the applicant's representatives and the applicant. And before I proceed, I'd like to request Austin Turner. You've provided a plan. It's the overall site layout plan, sheet number 1. And it shows the layout of the building with the resource areas. And I'm looking for the dates.
Believe that was, I
October.
think I sent that last week, maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday.
I have, date 10/26.
9/22.
Oh, okay.
9/22. Okay, so what I'm gonna ask Austin. We're gonna work off of this plan.
That's the survey sheet, the survey, exhibit that you had sent us, that we used.
Yeah.
in the field. Mhm.
Okay,
Stake locations, okay.
what we're gonna ask you to do is to put this on a full-scale plan. And identify the resource areas on it. Now, I went through it on my plan today, but it's a little unwieldy. And if we could get like a full-size plan instead of an 11/17, and the plan we're working off of doesn't have the identification of each resource area, which makes it a little unwieldy when we're comparing it to the NOI.
Mhm.
And if you can do that for us and provide several copies, I'd like to get a copy of this to Matt as well. And then to any other of the commission who might be interested.
No problem.
It'll make the review a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I think
I'd take a digital copy on that if possible.
absolutely. What I recall it too is I think kind of as we were departing, Matt and I were going to exchange contact information. What I can probably do is just email that. Anne has the other plan that I emailed. What I'll do is I'll compile the version, Cliff, that you're talking about. I'll add the wetland labels to it, A series, whatever it might be. And I'll email that to Anne and I'll print out multiple full-size hard copies and send that directly to her attention as well.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so referring to that plan, and maybe Austin, if you have that plan available, you could call it up so we'd all be looking at the same thing.
Yeah, I'm going to open that plan. I'm just kind of scrolling through our server. I don't have that plan open immediately, but I can try and find it. In the interim, what I can do is I can bring up the site plan too, because I think we can do that. Why don't I do that first?
Yeah, I was looking at the overall utility plan and that would have sufficed, but it didn't have the resource areas identified.
Yep.
So we had to go back and look at, sheet by sheet to find them and then.
I have a pretty good set of plans I can go through. I'll pop my screen up right now. Let me know when folks can see that, please.
We see it.
Great. So, I can zoom in and out to here as we need to. We had a productive and insightful site visit, Cliff, I think, as you were mentioning in the beginning. And what I thought we would do is have you and the commission kind of talk about your findings, observations, so that we'll have a discussion here, obviously, amongst us, and then figure out what makes sense for appropriate next steps. I know there was some alluding to a second site walk, which we should probably schedule this evening as well. I'd be happy to kind of, if however you want to proceed, Cliff, but I thought if you wanted to take point and kind of give the summary and have that conversation, or if you wanted me to give a brief overview of what we actually did, the kind of path that we had collectively walked, and then flip it to you, I'm happy to do however you feel is appropriate.
Well, I think what I'd like to do is just kind of recap and comment on the necessary identified points as we walk them, and present our findings and observations and requests for additional information.
Sure.
So right where you are, that's the access directly behind Home Depot. We walk down the hill.
Yep.
And came to the crossing, and we reviewed the crossing area. There were some discussions in the field. The administrator got everybody together so we would all be on the same page relative to the amount of fill that would be required there. In the immediate environs of the crossing, it appeared that the wetland delineation was appropriate. One of the things we're going to ask for, and I know Andrea had mentioned, and I had mentioned in the field, that the perennial nature of the stream happens somewhat to the east. And I was going to ask if she had any identification of no flow during a period where there was no drought. So we're going to ask that you provide that, or wait until a point where we can review that to make sure that we have the commencement of perennial versus intermittent identified properly. So walking further to the east, and this is my mistake, because I was really looking forward to getting into the building footprint, but we did not review what I believe is wetland X. There's a
Let's
wetland.
see, oh, right in here.
Okay,
Unless I misidentified it.
no, let's see. So this is wetland X right here.
Right, we did not review. It's our intention to look at everything that's within 100 feet of any proposed activity in the site. And I'm looking at, is that wetland A? Oh,
So-
no, there's
so-
wetland X.
This is A, X is immediately adjacent to A.
All right, so I see A.
I think
There's the, yes,
that's
correct. We did not take a look at wetland X. So the next time we go out in the field, we'll have to do that. But like I said, it appeared that in the immediate vicinity of the crossing, wetland A was accurate. The banks appeared to be accurate as well. So wetland X is one that we're going to have to review, any areas within 100 feet. In wetland B, moving on, there was a small area, probably, and Andrea could correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at potentially 3 flags where we asked them to be moved out 10 feet. It was right around wetland flag 12 and 11, 12, and 13 in that area, exactly. So that's an area that will be reflagged and re-identified on the plans. Then we walked to the southeast to, well, we picked up a corner of the building that was identified in the field and walked to the southeast to wetland D, and you have it. We reviewed a portion of wetland D, then moved over to wetland F and reviewed that in its entirety, and then finished wetland D and found the delineations to be accurate and acceptable. From that point, we moved to wetland E, which was the kind of long, it was a linear wetland between 2 fairly large embankments. And once again, found it to be accurate. And at the southern end of that area was a vernal pool. And if I'm not mistaken, that vernal pool was mentioned in the notice of intent filing as having a couple of egg masses, but not being viable. Under the local bylaw, evidence of breeding is reason to consider a depression, isolated, or otherwise to be a vernal pool. So we're going to need to take a look at that one in the breeding season to determine exactly what the value of that is, as it was not called out as being a vernal pool, but rather being dismissed as not being viable. I know that we talked in the field about the length of the hydro period, and the hydro period was being short. we had exactly the same situation in a filing this spring going into summer. And the commission determined in that one that evidence of breeding, according to our section in the regulations, is the presence of egg masses. The presence of egg masses were noted, and the drought was declared for Norfolk County in May, and that was a result of 3 months of lower than normal rainfall. So we'll evaluate that, and if the situation arises where there are no egg masses, then we'll concur with the findings in the notice of intent. From that
I
point,
think,
we move.
Cliff, can I make just one observation there?
Sure.
This is not to be disputing for the sake of conversation. I think my recollection is consistent with yours in the sense that we talked about the hydro period, and maybe Andrea can speak to this too, because this is not my entire realm of expertise. But I think there's, Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's a number of years of data on your behalf from LEC observing this to determine both, some visual observations of those sporadic egg masses, but also to determine its viability over a longer period, not just a shorter time span. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Brian is not able to attend tonight, but he could speak to that in what he's saw over the 2-year period and general hydro period and kind of level of disturbance in that area as well. So if agreeable, we can continue this conversation specific to this area.
Sure.
And I think Cliff too, I know this is implied, but just making sure that Matt Byrne is kind of involved in that conversation too. So we kind of making sure that your objective peer review consultant is part of the discussion there.
Well, I think that's why Matt was out there with us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't have, the commission has no problem with allowing that, and we'll entertain, all information and coming to our conclusions. From that point, we moved kind of to the northeast to what I believe is wetland H.
Yeah, correct. That's the locally jurisdictional isolated system that kind of spans or bridges the property boundary near the highway.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and right near there was another limit of work benchmark.
Yeah, so I found that exhibit, and this is highlighted for ease of review.
Perfect.
So this right here is H.
Okay.
And then what we found was we were kind of walking along, we had staked out in the field that limit of work in a linear fashion on either side of it, so we could kind of visualize how that looked. And we found this point being L7 and this point being L8.
Okay, good. And so we found so the flagging for isolated wetland H was accurate, and then we continued to move kind of to the northern direction and came to the area of the larger vernal pool that's part of a BVW that's associated with Springbrook. That's the place right there, and that's wetland C, I believe.
Correct.
Okay. And so this is also the area where vernal pool replication is proposed.
Right. So what we're looking at, this is just kind of the overall view of the replication plan. So this is the area that was identified as being that vernal pool. This area in green here is the proposed replication of that, or additional enhancement, if you will, right? We're not impacting the vernal pool, but we're going to extend that wetland. And what we were looking at out in the field is there's kind of a ridge, and what we were trying to avoid, and Matt had kind of identified this in the field as well. This area here, we're trying to be respectful to the topography out there and not create something that's got a tremendous amount of cut or fill in there, but making sure it's hydraulically connected and respect some of those natural high spots and the clusters of rocks and stuff that may be habitat providing. And what we had talked about, or at least my understanding of the conversation was, we were going to look at the design of this a bit more closely with Matt and Andrea and Brian at LEC to get a bit more granular as we kind of go through this process.
Yeah, I think that's important because what the commission doesn't want to have happen is, intrusions inside the 50-foot setback to a vernal pool where we are actually altering upland terrain, which is habitat area, in an effort to expand the vernal pool. So what we don't want to be doing is damaging habitat to the vernal pool species so that we get a net loss because some of the habitat, maybe some of the critters are destroyed during our effort to enhance. And we'll rely on Matt on that. But, Austin, as we usually do, you'll submit the information to us. We'll distribute it to Matt because we don't want any one-on-one conversations where the commission is not party to any decisions, evaluations, or advice that might be given. But that's
Of course. Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
And then the final thing, there were a couple of benchmarks that were missing for the area of the
Yeah, so what we had done here, we have a surface stormwater basin located here. The area we're just looking at for context is right here. And we walked kind of along this wetland here on the ridge line of that topography and kind of inside the fence boundary. In what we're going to reestablish in the field are the stakes for around this surface basin and then provide some additional context for the replication areas.
Okay, so I think that we got a lot of work done. I apologize to the commission because it was a little bit longer than I had anticipated. But I was kind of driven by my desire personally to get that whole section of the project reviewed. And moving forward, I think what we're going to do is a similar situation, moving to southwest of the site, where we'll do a similar kind of activity where we'll walk along the access road. And now, Matt, Austin, have you picked up those benchmarks?
What do you mean by picked up the benchmarks?
Well, so this plan shows you have those benchmarks staked in the field.
All of those are,
Yeah, correct. So everything that you see highlighted here in pink
right.
And
was established in the field prior to us walking the site last Saturday.
perfect. And so the wetlands are also, the flags have been flagged and renewed and staked.
Correct. Yep. So what we would expect to see out there when we kind of advance into the site would be very similar to what we were experiencing when we were out there last weekend.
Good. So one of the things I want to make sure is that as we proceed along the areas where the walls are going to be contained, I'd like you to stake out the walls, because what we're looking at doing here, even though there are going to be walls and the actual vernal pool itself may be protected, what we're going to be doing is kind of segmenting the habitat areas. So for instance, along wetland N and maybe now wetland W, I don't think is listed as a vernal pool. Do you have W as a vernal pool? That would be this one right here.
W.
Yeah, okay. So wetland W is listed as a vernal pool, and you've got grading and what appears to be a wall there. So and it's pretty close. We'd like to see that area indicated in the field so we can find out exactly
What we're talking about, just so I'm clear, and again, not questioning you, but just so I'm clear, we're talking, so there's this wall here, right? Then we have this perimeter wall here.
Enlarge it a little bit more. Yeah, I'm working off 11 by 17, but oh, there you go. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you go back to the access road, please. Little, yeah, okay. Now, the wetland area right next to stake number, location number 5, I think it is.
R5,
Right here.
R5, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, that resource area there is W. And according to the notice, nope, not that one, the one next
No,
to
right
that,
here.
that one, it's
Yep.
identified as a vernal pool in the NOI. So we need to know what the closest point of impact to that is. You know, it looks like you're outside the 25-foot, but we'd like to see that in the field.
Okay, so establish this limit of grading in the field.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's what we're gonna kind of do, Austin, as we go along, especially in the areas that are vernal pools. We want to make sure that the animals that are using them for breeding purposes have an opportunity, ample opportunity for alternative habitat, because they're going to be losing the areas where they're going to be walls and grading.
Understood. Okay.
So there's wetland number W. And of course, for wetland J, which is immediately southwest of wetland W, we'll look at the areas that are within 100 feet. That one, Austin, is a little.
I think J, I can find it right here. So I know that's Q.
It's still kind of long.
it's at the 90-degree turn there, Austin, right there,
right
top
here.
of page, there you go.
That's
J
it.
right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be the same thing there. We'll look at the closest point within 100 feet. And then as we move closer to the southwestern corner of the building, where we impact wetland G and wetland N, we'll be looking at similar things. You know, wetland G is proposed for fill. We'll review the flags in the field, make sure they're accurate. Wetland N is a vernal pool, and you're crossing between G and N, and we know that N is a vernal pool because it's been identified in accordance with Wetlands Protection Bylaw regs for our previous filing. I think in the field, we'll talk to Andrea relative to the findings for wetland G to make sure that no vernal pool life has been identified. And if we get to the point where we want to look at, as we previously mentioned, wetland E in the spring, we'll also take a look at wetland G. It's in the past, we've looked at it, and it appears that there was a hydrological connection during high water across that cart path, and we've seen tadpoles in the cart path. Whether or not they make it into wetland G, we never really determined that. So we'll talk to your environmental consultants in the field and question them on their findings. And as we move closer to the parking area to the south, wetland Q, we know that's a really active vernal pool, and we'll ask for the same thing. It looks like you're very close to that. That one may require modification. You're actually up to the 25-foot no disturb zone. But again, we'll take a look at these things in the field. Now, we have not looked at wetland Y yet, but I think what we want to do, and Austin, I think you alluded to this earlier, there's going to be walls along the southwestern portion of the building. So we'll take a look at that wetland And I don't have an identification on it, but it's associated with the Charles, I believe.
This one here, yeah, that's the
Hey.
one you're referring to. That is I believe.
Okay.
It's actually K, Austin,
Oh, is it K? All right.
to your left.
Okay.
And
Okay. Okay.
K, correct.
Oh, yeah,
I
K,
said
and
it
then
before
K
Mike
bleeds
did.
into I.
And so, you know, we have some more work to do, but we got off to a good start. I think your team knows what we're looking for and how we're gonna work on it. Before we look at scheduling another site walk, I asked you about the possibility of providing us with that plan. That doesn't seem to be a problem.
Nope.
Just gonna ask for a couple of status updates. You're gonna have a filing with MIPA. No, not with MIPA, but a filing under the Mass Environmental Policy Act.
That's correct.
Okay, and so that's going to be a new filing?
Correct. Yeah, we're going to be filing an ENF shortly.
Okay, perfect. And then the other thing is, do you cross thresholds for 401? You might because of the amount of.
Yep. So we're anticipating doing that. We're still working out if we're actually crossing those thresholds, but we're going to be preparing one of those is our expectation.
Okay. So I think the only other thing I wanted to do is because we're proposing actual fill of vernal pools, I think at one future meeting, we'd like to have a presentation made with specificity to each one of those areas for the record, and so that the commission completely understands what the impacts are going to be. And that's what I envision moving forward. Does that seem like a logical?
Yeah, I think that seems, in my opinion anyway, it seems like a logical progression of things. I think provided the commission's amenable to it, I think what I'd like to try and do, because we have, you know, we covered a fair amount of ground last weekend. And obviously there's a lot of ground still to cover, which I think we were pretty efficient and can continue to be efficient on our next site walk. I think given that we have Thanksgiving coming up, my hope is that we could schedule a site walk prior to the holiday weekend when there might be some travel schedules that get a bit complicated. I'm going to be working with the survey team to get out there and provide some additional staking in the field. I'll talk to them tomorrow morning about timing and schedule for that. I think we could still schedule, at least my opinion, I think we could still schedule a site walk to review the resource areas similar to what we did last weekend. The weekend of the 19th seems like it might be a good one, but that's not, I want to put that to the commission's for discussion.
Okay, well, that one is difficult for Ann and myself. We were hoping to be able to get a number of the commissioners out on December 3rd, or possibly December 10th. That would still give us time to do a similar recap on 12/14.
December 3rd, is that what you said, Cliff?
Yeah, December 3rd or December 10th. Now, we haven't talked to the commission about that. And that's one of the things that we are hoping to kind of nail down tonight to find out availability and also Matt's availability. I know BSC is extremely busy. I know everybody's busy. The commission's busy.
Just for the sake of discussion, if we did a site walk on December 3rd,
Mhm.
what would be the hearing where we would discuss what was observed on that?
We would go to the evening of the 14th.
evening of the 14th.
Because we're only having one meeting. We're having one meeting in November because we have town meeting coming up and we have, and they always have them on Wednesdays, and we have Thanksgiving. And then there's only going to be one meeting in December because, I mean, obviously, we're not looking at meeting on the 28th. So we would look at the 12th or 14th of December. But I
Okay.
need to see, is that okay?
Well, I'm assuming there's no opportunity to do it during a weekday, right? If we were to convene in the morning or something.
Well, everybody works.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I know the administrator could make it part of her schedule, but in sometimes if this were a single family home or septic repair, that would be one thing. But given the nature of the impacts that are proposed, I think we need as many eyes from the commission as possible to see what's going on in the field. So. But
Is there, so I think, speaking for me, December 3rd works for me personally. Would we want to call a rain date on Sunday the 4th, just in the event the weather got a little funky?
we go out in the rain. We don't do Sundays, but we go
Okay.
out in the rain.
I'm happy to go out in the rain. Trust me, I've got the gear. I'm good to go.
There's no better time to review wetlands than in the rain.
Not this weekend. Tropical storms are a little more than that.
That's right,
Well,
that's
yeah,
right.
but Mike, you weren't around. We've done delineations, verifications in a hurricane.
Yeah. Well,
So I'm gonna ask the commission, what do we have for availability for another review? And I'll rein in my enthusiasm
Mhm.
to keep it to a couple of hours. I got a little carried away.
December
I'd
3rd.
probably still be out there.
alone.
Oh, yeah, he'd be alone, all right.
Yeah, okay,
I'm available 3rd or 10th.
okay.
I'll have to get back to you. I may have some holiday concert conflicts.
Okay,
I know I'm personally not available on the 10th. I'm traveling. Not that my schedule should commandeer everybody's, but that's,
Okay.
Ariane,
I think I can do
the 3rd,
Third?
She broke up.
Matt,
Did she say the 3rd?
I think she said the 3rd.
I could do the 3rd as well.
do the 3rd.
Oh, this is
Sorry,
starting.
can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, this is looking good. So,
Wait, what about,
Ryan,
Ryan?
Yeah, I should be able to.
Yeah, well, we don't want you to take it.
We don't
easy
want you
if
to
do,
overdo it.
But.
I won't do that.
Who else? No. Maybe?
we'll let Noel advise.
The 3rd is okay with me. That works.
Okay.
This is looking good. Okay. Austin, I think we have a plan here.
yeah, I think so too. And I'll work with the survey team to identify some of the additional areas that you were asking about.
Oh, you know what? We didn't ask your, Andrea,
Can
can you make it?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
That's okay.
No, it's
And
not.
one of the important players.
Applicant can make it too.
Okay.
Nobody cares, Jeff.
Nobody cares, but
Nobody cares.
Jeff, even if you couldn't make it, you'd be well represented.
Hey, Cliff, can I ask a question? Just if you don't mind, do we have everybody who's participating tonight present at the first public hearing? I don't recall. I thought there may have been a couple of individuals who weren't able to attend last time.
I believe everyone who was at the opening of the first public hearings here, but not everyone
Okay.
attended the site visit.
Maybe not
Oh,
Noel.
Noel was not
I
present.
think Noel.
And Brian's pointing at himself as well.
You were not here at the opening?
Brian's muted though.
Ah,
Yeah, I'm not sure if I was or not.
We can check we
we'll check the
can check our
minutes.
minutes.
We'll
Yeah,
check
that's
the
But I
minutes.
think just kind of
Well,
as just like a procedural thing, if folks hadn't participated, we want to obviously make sure that they're included as part of the rest of the proceedings. I think, don't we have to technically make sure that whomever may have missed the discussion, at least acknowledge that they've looked at the prior minutes and is familiar with those discussions, so we can just kind of continue.
That's true, but what we've done in the past, where, you know, this is not, again, a simple filing. So there's gonna be some amount of time. It's possible that members will miss. What we've done and has been legally acceptable is that prior to closing the hearing, we have a complete recap. You know, the applicant's representative presents a recap. The commission provides additional input, and then everybody's brought up to speed. And then the applicant's always comfortable with the fact that people are entitled to vote. So
Okay.
you're right. We're going to try to make sure that moving forward, everyone makes a concerted effort to attend hearings where this is going on.
My only reason for asking was exactly what you pointed out. There's going to be a lot of discussions. I want to make sure we're all just kind of stepping forward in the same direction.
Yeah, we're talking about the Mullen rule. We understand that.
Yep. I'm sure you're getting here. I have no idea if anybody from the public is on and wants to talk about it, but we should probably do that too,
I
right?
was going to ask whatever happened to Mr. Daly.
I did communicate with him. He actually saw him in person the following evening at the planning board meeting. I sent him an overall site plan.
Okay.
And he has not been back in touch with us, but I did speak to him by phone and then spoke to him, he and his son in person at the planning board the night after our first hearing.
Okay, thank you for reaching out to him.
Sure.
You know, it was not an easy walk.
No.
If, you know, for someone who's moving a little slower now, it might have been a bit of a difficulty. Okay.
Can I ask one thing, Matt? Are you intending to do a separate site walk independent of the commission at this point?
At this point, I don't have plans to do that. I think I'll see where we get and then discuss that with the commission if it seems to be appropriate.
Okay, great.
Okay. Perfect. We're right on line for our next continuation. All right.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, just one shout out to the Bellingham Sunoco Service Center, who was perfectly willing to take the gas tank that we found on site and dispose of it in their waste oil facility. So just wanted to give them a plug in the meeting.
And thank you for
Sure.
carrying that off the
But
site.
great local business helping out. So
Awesome. Okay.
Hey, Cliff, did you want to, is there anybody from the public who wanted to provide
I
an opinion or
don't
anything? I know.
see anyone, but I will ask, are there any questions from the commission or from the public? Questions or comments? All right. Hearing none and seeing none, I will entertain a motion to conduct a site visit commencing at 8:30 on Saturday, December 3rd, rain or shine, and to continue the hearing to the evening of December 14th at 8 o'clock.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By unanimous vote.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
We look
Thanks all.
forward
Thank you.
to
Good
the
night.
information.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is yours.
First thing you could do is continue this.
All right, the Bellingham Conservation Commission will hold continuations of public meetings in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 14 of Bellingham Wetlands Protection Bylaw. On the notice of intent for the proposal to construct a commercial building with associated stormwater management system located within 100-foot buffer zone to border vegetated wetlands at Assessors Map 4, Parcel 72, 455 Hartford Avenue, Bellingham. Mitchell, Masalanka, Goddard Consulting, Northborough, Mass. Has submitted the filing on behalf of Moshe Tyus, Darren Properties, Milford, Mass. The continuations will be held on the evening of November 9th at 7:45. Okay. At the applicant's request, we're going to continue the hearing to provide an opportunity to respond to peer review comments. And those comments, which will be going to BSC, we're anticipating will be forthcoming. In fact, we kind of anticipated we'd get them today. So at the applicant's request, I'll entertain a motion to continue the hearing to the evening of December 14th at 7:30.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Missing somebody.
Aye.
Okay, that's a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. We have another item of business. We have a request for a certificate of compliance. Mike Hassett is here.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind the interruption, I think I'll say goodnight and have a lovely evening.
Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Matt.
Take care,
Good
everyone.
night.
We'll be in touch.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi,
Good
Michael.
evening.
Is the floor mine or is there a reading or?
The floor is yours. We had a continuation. You're in luck.
Appreciate it. All right, so I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Cell Center Realty LLC, requesting a certificate of compliance for the address is 39 Candlelight Lane. The lot designation is lot 31. They've completed all the work and we filed a request for a certificate of compliance. I can give you the DEP file number and Bellingham permit number if you need them. But there really isn't too much to say. I know Ann has been out to the site to inspect, and my understanding that she didn't find any outstanding issues. So I don't know if you want me to go over the plan or how in deep you want to go into this.
Yeah, sure. Michael, why don't you put the plan up?
Sure. Sec here. Screen.
Noel will let you share your screen, I think.
There we go. Okay, here's the screen. Okay.
There we go.
All right, you can see this here. All right, so this is lot 31. They built the house. Most of the work is at the house, the patio deck, retaining walls, all of that is outside the 100-foot buffer. The wetlands are located in the back. The two rain gardens are constructed. And this whole area is grass. They have the split rail fence with conservation placards along the rear lot line. And that's it. It's your standard house with backyard.
Okay, so yeah, there were a couple of questions about this because the original filing showed a grading and not retaining walls. We had a couple of situations where there was silt transport between this house and the abutting house. And to solve the problem, the developer put in walls rather than grading. It was outside the buffer zone. There were several trees in the backyard. One of them had died. Two of them were leaning precariously toward the house. Those trees were removed. We were there today to inspect. And before we issued the certificate of compliance, the property owner or their landscaper or someone has been dumping material. Some of it was over the fence, Michael,
Okay,
and some of it was at the back of the rain garden. So right where your cursor is.
right in here.
Right in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of it's
Oh.
over the fence, some of it's actually in the rain garden. That's gonna have to be removed. We don't want to issue a certificate of compliance when somebody's been dumping, but it may have occurred before the placards and the fence and all of that happened, so.
Okay,
If we get that out, what I'm gonna recommend, if the administrator concurs, is that we prepare the document. We arrange for signatures, and then when the removal takes place, we'll issue.
okay, that sounds reasonable to me. Would that be reappearing at the next hearing to cross those Ts, or it would just be kind of like a procedurally approved tonight, and then with a condition that once those things are addressed and re-inspected by Ann or yourself or whoever, the document would be released and could be recorded?
That's it.
Perfect.
You have-
And it's just to clear and remove any brush and lawn waste that have been deposited in the rain garden or beyond the split rail fence.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious,
Sure.
and you know, if you happen to be speaking with the property owner,
I think we need to speak to the property owner, Mike,
Yeah, Mr.
let them know that they can't be doing that.
Yeah, I think they need probably a letter.
Yeah, I'd
think
like
it-
to confirm that. I'd like to be sure that the property owner actually gets the letter and looks at it. I mean, I'd love to have them acknowledge it in some way, like sign on a copy and send it back with it.
I
Applicant
think
or
the
something.
applicant needs to take care of this issue and educate the property owner.
So we're going to remove the brush and lawn waste, and then we're going to provide them with a letter. Maybe I provide a copy to the town and we send it via certified mail, just like we were doing a butter notification, so
Sure.
that
sounds
they
really
can
good.
have confirmed receipt.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Or you can do it by
Certificate of mailing.
certificate of mailing.
You can do it that way too, sure.
Yeah,
Sometimes people are loath to sign for a return receipt
Mhm.
because they feel it's bad news, but a certificate of mailing is, people just get the mail and you have proof that it was mailed.
True.
Okay.
so just let me know when that work is complete. We can move forward. If the board agrees this evening, we can move forward on getting this tentatively approved. I'm sure that you and your client are very anxious. You've been trying to get this thing issued for a few weeks now, so.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'll make sure I get that letter drafted this week. And we can get that ball rolling.
Thank you.
And that's something that's relatively simple, so that site inspection will take place during the day on a weekday. And, okay.
And
Oh,
just one more question, Mike. I know that it was, were you the one that once this is issued, are you the one that's going to be receiving the document, or is it going to Bob Duff?
Probably best to send it to Bob Duff at our Milford office. They handle most of our recording work, so
Super.
we'll do it that way.
Thank you.
And well, what about the open space sediment erosion control?
Okay.
Did you talk to?
Yeah, that was a different issue than this, and yeah.
All right. Okay, so I think we're good. I think we have a plan here.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Mike.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah, we should.
Please, motion to prepare and sign the certificate of compliance and issue upon final inspection to assure the removal of the yard waste.
And this is the letter. Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep, and notifying me about it.
No, I already moved it.
Okay, second.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, by unanimous vote.
And so what I'll do is I'll send a draft copy to you guys first. And then if you're happy with the contents, then we'll mail it out. That way we're not wasting paper and time.
That's fine.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's all for me. So thanks for your time tonight.
Have a nice
Okay,
evening.
you too. Thank you.
We have one set of minutes to approve, September 28th. I know they've been distributed. They showed up in my email.
I think Mike had
One
one.
small comment, Mike, on the minutes. September 28th.
I forget what page it was.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
what was the proposed date of the site walk?
December 3rd.
Thank you.
Same time, same place.
Yeah, the place hasn't moved, huh?
No, it hasn't moved at all.
Someplace less wet?
Well,
Just saying.
I think it's doubtful that we'll have weather as spectacular as we had at our last site inspection. But hopefully it's not pouring rain and 20 degrees. Those are tough ones.
So, Mr. Chair, in answer to your question, the page 3 on the minutes under the RDA meeting, 89 Lakeshore Drive, just a little typo. Second full paragraph, last sentence. I believe it should be, I'm proposing 3 sonotubes instead of I apostrophe.
Oh, the M was missing.
Appears to have gone astray somewhere. It's probably hiding somewhere else in the document, but I couldn't find it.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you, Tina.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the meetings for the meeting of September 28th.
So moved.
Second.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. When can we, do you want to wait until, can we sign this when we're out in the field on the 3rd?
Sign what, Cliff?
I don't know, the
Okay, so,
permit for the certificate of compliance?
okay, so, but there was one more certificate of compliance, that we were going to talk about this evening.
Oh, yeah.
300 Hartford Avenue.
Okay,
Okay, so we need to talk about. that
sorry.
real quickly.
Yep, we have another certificate of compliance request. 300 Hartford Avenue. It's the storage areas behind the gas company, the gas station next to the cemetery on Hartford Avenue.
Right by the vernal pool there.
That's by the vernal
Exactly.
pool, which it's protected, and we protected the habitat. We inspected it today. You know, it's amazing. You look at a plan, you have a vision of what it's going to look like, and you get out in the field, and it just doesn't look like what you envision it to be. However,
Is this better or worse in this case?
just different.
Totally.
Because I remember that vernal pool was like in a really big dip, really close to, I think, where they were going to be by the building, wasn't it? On the plans anyway.
Actually, it was flat. The building was just longer,
Yeah.
not bigger, just longer than we than I had envisioned it to be. And if you recall, what they did is they were utilizing a retention basin that had been constructed associated with the gas station. They repurposed it and put it in an outlet with an underground infiltration chamber. And the administrator said, we're not going to issue a certificate until we have an inspection of that. And it passed the inspection with flying colors. We walked along the back, the fence is in place, the no disturb zone badges are in place. And unlike residential areas where you see people frequently just dumping stuff over the fence, it's pristine. Looks real good.
Did that vernal pool not have tires in it? I kind of thought everyone we've been
There are
to.
no tires in the vernal pool, so it's not a wetland, but it's a vernal pool.
Good, okay. Good. The tadpoles will be happy.
Yeah.
Any other questions on it? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to sign and issue the certificate of compliance for 300 Hartford Avenue self-storage facility.
So moved.
Michael,
Second,
Neil, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, by unanimous vote.
So are any of you available to, before December 3rd, to sign these 2 certificates? Are any of you available?
Tomorrow or Friday are good for me. I can stop down in the morning.
Yeah, I don't have a heavy schedule right now.
Do you have any off-site, out of office meetings tomorrow or the next day, Ann?
Well, we're not open on Friday.
Right. Because,
it's a holiday,
what holiday?
Veterans Day.
Oh, great. I
Does
didn't even
Neil
realize.
get that?
Snuck up on me. No, we don't get that. Our organization chose that the day after Thanksgiving, about 25 years
That
ago.
happens.
We picked the day after Thanksgiving instead. Yeah, okay.
Choice.
The town gets it. That means
Yep.
Cove Machinery gets it.
Well, I can stop down tomorrow if you're gonna be around. Go for it, yeah.
Okay.
Well, wait, what time? Because you have a 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so I probably won't be in. I have a meeting at 9, so I'm probably gonna be in the office maybe till 10:30-ish.
Whenever. I'm working from home tomorrow, so I can stop down anytime.
All right.
Works for me.
10:30 or a little after, that's fine.
Then we just.
I might be able to do Monday, Ann.
Oh, that would be good. Okay. All right. Maybe,
Would Thursday be too late?
um,
Like next Thursday?
okay, so next Thursday might be a little bit of an issue depending on what time you're talking about.
I was planning on doing maybe lunch.
At noon. Okay, I'll tell you what, I will, how about if you send me an email and we can see if we need your signature,
Okay.
if that would work, that would be awesome.
Sure, if we get enough signatures, then we can save you the trouble.
Yeah. Thank you all
Sure.
so much. I appreciate it.
Is there any other business anyone would like to discuss? Are we all good?
This town meeting. I think.
The 16th, a week from tonight, is the annual town meeting. They call it, I guess there's no more special town meeting, it's a
No.
town meeting.
Just-
7:30 at the high school.
Just special that enough people show up to make a quorum.
Yeah. And then,
Is there any conservation related issues coming up from some other board that we might be benefiting, affecting by? Are they gonna announce that property donation there?
no,
Next to 25?
No.
No.
It's not necessary.
I know it's not
By the
necessary.
way, while you're mentioning that, the deed has been,
yes, I think.
the deed's been recorded.
Yeah, good. Thought so.
Administrator wrote a nice thank you
I
letter.
think they got it.
Oh, you got a copy of it, okay. Sorry.
Speaking of things that I'm sure won't be mentioned at town meeting, did we ever hear anything more about Franklin and our issue on Prospect Street there with that development, and have they ruled?
I think maybe there's some information, but I'm not privy to it this
Okay.
time.
Maybe by the time you come in to sign, we'll know a little more.
And cancel the meeting.
And we canceled the meeting on the 23rd, the day before Thanksgiving, because I think I signed the letter, didn't I?
Yes.
Yes,
I
okay.
just want to remind.
Just to remind everybody. So,
Happy birthday to me.
is that your birthday?
Yeah,
The 23rd?
Yep.
Wow. so
Really?
that's-
sometimes it's on Thanksgiving and that's the year that people are just so thankful that
I
I'm.
always knew he was a turkey.
Yeah, see, you don't have a leg to stand on, Jeff. Yeah, I know.
All right.
You just have
Brian,
to
the
wait.
next canceled meeting, December 28th.
Yep,
All right,
that's
right.
the next one.
That's my birthday.
There you go, Brian.
Why are we skipping that week? Just because?
Because it's
Christmas.
between
Yeah.
two holidays and I need a little break.
A holiday from us? Come on, Cliff.
No, holiday from the never-ending demands of the applicants, okay?
There you go.
And Tina, that doesn't go on.
No, please don't put
the
that.
record.
That's applicants with two Ps, Tina.
That'll be stricken from the draft. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you for
Thank you.
attending the site walk, putting effort into it.
Yeah.
And thank you for the meeting tonight.
Reach out if you need any information or have any questions. Don't hesitate.
Yeah, when they get those digital plans for the Hartford Ave, I think I'd like a copy too, like Neil did.
For Hartford Avenue, yes,
The
the one we're
warehouse.
talking about tonight.
Warehouse.
yes,
Whatever.
absolutely.
No rush. I got plenty of paper. Other ones from it.
Yeah, and in preparation for the meeting, it was kind of difficult to get. We had the narrative and we had the full set of plans with the designation of the resource areas. But we were out there walking around and the plan didn't show the designations and it was difficult. So he's
Mhm.
gonna get that to us. That's good.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Somebody see you.
Motion to
See you
adjourn.
tomorrow. Oh, sorry.
Motion to adjourn.
Brian.
Second.
Third, fourth.
All in favor?
Hey.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you,
tomorrow, Ann.
everybody. Thank you, Tina.
See you around 10:30 tomorrow, man. Bye.
Good night.
Take care. Yes.
Have a good night. Happy early birthday.
Look at that. Look at you. Ooh, that's good.
Oh my
Good night, everybody.
Hey.